We're focusing on recruiting, of course, with Brad Tejeda, Kane's Insight. And now that there's another commit in, great place to go, Kane Insight, because Brad just laid it out for us, but you can take a deep dive on Mr. Campbell. And then, of course, 2 more announcements here in the next 24 hours. So Kane's Insight's the place to be. Just picking your brain on 2024 a bit. The secondary didn't have a great year last year. How confident and hopeful are you that that can change pretty drastically this year?
I think a lot of it's going to, have to do with a young man by the name of Jaden Harris. I think Jaden Harris will ultimately be that factor that could really take this secondary room to another level that we're not expecting. I think you brought in Mish Powell from Washington, who obviously is going to come in, not only play safety, but play a little bit of nickel when we need him to. But besides Mish Powell and Jaden Harris, who I mentioned, you really don't have any other guy in the safety room that has played a lot of snaps in college football. Markeith Williams is another name to throw out there, but he's a guy that, you're only going to want to put him in certain situations because he just doesn't have the body frame and weight to really just be out in the open and kind of tackle a guy one-on-one, in my opinion. He's more of a boundary play coverage, zone coverage, man coverage guy. I wouldn't really throw him in the box. But besides Mish Powell, you got Zaquan Patterson, who's a true freshman. You don't never want to rely on a true freshman, especially, in some of these position groups. But he's got a guy that already has the talent, the athleticism, and the frame to kind of be an impact type of guy. So we'll see if maybe, halfway in the season he starts to make his mark and impact on this football team. But I think at the end of the day, it's going to be a player by committee in that secondary room. And you're going to have to really hone in and rely on some of these corners that you brought in. Deani Hill from Marshall. You got to make sure someone in Daryl Porter Jr. continues to grow and be that guy. Someone in Damari Brown, who had a pretty good upcoming freshman year at the end of the year last year. You got to make sure he builds off of that and has a good sophomore year this year. And then you got Jadias Richard as well from Vanderbilt, who I think when you look at his measurables and what he brings to the table, he may be the best overall corner on the roster this year when it's all said and done, in my opinion. He's a guy that played in the SEC, did some pretty good solid work against teams like Florida, who will be opening up against week 1. So I think you have a pretty good group in the corner room. You're just going to have to really play by committee in the secondary overall and create a lot of pressure to where we're not having to rely on that secondary for too long. And that's exactly what the staff did. They brought in, numerous amount of guys at the defensive end and defensive tackle position to help with that.
Brad, I know you've got a ton going on, and with commit just coming in, coverage to work on there, and then with the 2 commits here in the next day or 2, and then you said 3 to 5 in the next 5 or 6 days possible. So that's a whole lot right there. So appreciate you being here. Kane's Insight, anything you want to highlight there? Certainly, you got the floor.
No, man. Thank you as always for having me. We landed a commitment in Demetrius Campbell tonight. I expect hopefully another one tomorrow. And then you're gearing up for maybe 2 to 3 more at the end of the weekend, like we mentioned. But other than that, you had a big time 5-star defensive end who just announced in the last 15, 20 minutes that he decided to decommit from USC, and Miami, just offers right after he decommits. And that's Isaiah Gibson, who's 6'5", 260 pounds, who was once teammates with the quarterback Judd Anderson on Miami Hurricanes football roster from Warner Robins, Georgia. So that's going to be an interesting name to watch here shortly and in the next coming months, because as we know, the defensive end board currently for Miami is very slim. So watch out for Isaiah Gibson and the recruitment with Miami. But other than that, man, continue to go on canesinsight.com. We have the greatest forum out there. It's, minute by minute, hour by hour. There, all the news that you can get, all the rumors are right there. And me, Pete, and D-Money, Steve-O, and the rest of the gang, we do great work on YouTube and on social media. So just continue to follow us on Kane's Insight. And don't forget to donate to Kane's Connection and help support this great cause for the University of Miami.
And I see Gibson's a high-level guy, #1 rated edge rusher by 247, top 20 player in the country.
Yes, sir. Yep, and just announced about 20 minutes ago that he decommitted from USC, and Miami offers shortly after.
Wow. Okay, that's one to look out for. For
Absolutely.
sure. Wow. All right, Brad. Appreciate you being here, man. Great stuff as always.
No problem, Mark. Thank you as always, and go Canes.